Welcome to another edition of the Party on Fifth Avenue podcast, presented to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. And our Yin's ready to ride some bulls. So kind enough to join us, the CEO and commissioner of PBR, Sean Gleason, kind enough. Sean, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you back here in Pittsburgh. Second year that PBR has made the trek to the Steel City. And before we talk about this year and what is to come, I got to go back to the first year. Last year, PBR makes that debut. And what an exciting event that I'm sure PBR had the Steel City circled, knowing what the sports history is here in Pittsburgh and how good the fans are. But did we ever expect the fans to show out and come out the way that they did?
Expect, maybe not, but hope like heck that was what was going to happen. Yeah, we did have it. We had Pittsburgh circled for 20 plus years, to be honest with you, to be able to get here. We know there's a lot of fans out here in this area, and we just weren't able to put it together until last year, and then bam, sold out, electric. It was incredible.
It really was. And you talked about having 20 years with Pittsburgh in your sights, but this has been even a longer coming up party for PBR. The brand is hotter than it's ever been. And talk about the fact that really this growing and the way that PBR has come up and come out so fast.
You know, it's everybody says it's so fast. I've been here 26 years, and it doesn't seem like it's as fast as it may be.
The typical overnight
success story that took 26 years off my life. But the last few years, being a part of TKO, especially in the last year and a half or so, has really amped up the growth for us. It's been incredible. We've sold 375,000 tickets before we got here today, just, from Boston in the first weekend of the year, and Madison Square Garden. And it's great to see. We've got fans literally in every corner of the United States now. There's not a lot of places that we don't go that when you say the words PBR, they know what it means, not the beer. And that's not always been the case. So it's incredible. We're riding this wave, and we're using that to expose the best bulls and the best bull riders in the world to fans that I think really appreciate now what they do.
How important is it for PBR to bring the PBR to places that aren't typical influencers into bull riding and kind of teaching cities a whole new sport?
That's really our bread and butter is, we take the roots of rodeo and our Western heritage, and we take it to places that haven't had that for a long time. If you look back, 75 to 100 years ago, every place had a rodeo, including, every town around Pittsburgh. Sure. And so that's slowly faded away in the East, and it really is our bread and butter. Take it to places where there's still a familiarity. It's a little romantic to go back in time and be a cowboy for a weekend, and so we love it. And then we always say I get them through the door with the spectacle of bulls and bull riders, and then we hook them with the sport, and they become fans for life.
Yeah, and while we're sitting in downtown Pittsburgh, you don't have to venture off too far out of the Pittsburgh city limits to find that country living. And there is a lot of synergy between PBR and Pittsburgh and that blue-collar mentality that so many of us have. And have you found that to be the case in terms of how receptive the fans have been?
Yeah, definitely. They come from all over to enjoy a weekend here, and a lot of urban fans here and in the heart of Pittsburgh. But I spent a little time out in Armstrong County and Katanning and a few other places out there. So, I was a little bit familiar with the area before we first came here. And I know there's some good old country boys out there, country boys and girls.
The sport fascinates me, and getting a chance to see it for the first time in person last year. But also the thing that blew me away was the production value. Obviously, the bull riders, that's your bread and butter. That's the exciting thing to see. But everything around that also brings in the fan in such a unique way. Do you guys push that part of the show and really influence the fact that you guys are pushing the production value as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you take arguably the world's most exciting and dangerous sport, and you're rapping in a rock concert, and you've got something. And so people are my favorite experience is when somebody that came as a begrudging guest of somebody that really wanted to come to the PBR, and I get a chance to meet them, and they start out and they've got a frown on their face, and they're all like, "Oh, I had to come to this thing." And by the end of the night, they're like, "Oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life." And you only get that if you really truly entertain them from the beginning to the end. And so that is definitely one of our goals. Every stop that we make is the power of the brand rests in the best bulls and the best bull riders, but you just burn some dirt and throw some T-shirts in the stands, and they love it.
So PBR no doubt wants to be here, but Pittsburgh should want PBR to be here as well. Talk about the economic impact that bringing in PBR to Pittsburgh has made.
Yeah, we've had it measured. We'll keep measuring it here, but it's about $11 million worth of economic value when we come to town, and it's because a lot of those people from out of the area travel into Pittsburgh. They stay in your hotels, they eat in your restaurants, buy goods and services around town, and then, of course, what they spend here at the arena, and keeping a lot of people employed on a weekend when the Penguins are out of town.
You mentioned the 26 years for yourself. What personally keeps you going in this, and now getting to see just the maturation process of what this has become?
I'm still a huge fan of the sport. I mean, I still get goosebumps for those great rides. It's hard not to, when you get into the sport, it's hard not to sit on the edge of your seat. And as every gate opens and every ride happens, still a huge fan. And, it's just been an honor. I've had a front row seat to one of the fastest growing sports in the history of sports. And when you get to do that every day, it's not much of a job.
When you're talking about bringing somebody or someone begrudgingly shows up, is it the best way to sell it is to see it, or are you able to convince them otherwise? It
really is. It's which is difficult at times. It means we have to win our fans one at a time, literally, and that's why it's been years and years of growth. But I think we've hit a point now where there's enough people that have seen it, and there's enough people that'll advocate for it. It used to be, I think, that we had a lot of fans, but they were embarrassed to tell their friends that they were fans of bull riding. And so, I call them closet fans. They didn't really want to talk about it. They didn't want to wear the T-shirt with pride or and go out there. And now people are coming up telling other people, you've got to go see this. And that's what helps us spread the word.
I think that one of the biggest things, and we're talking to Sean Gleason, the CEO of PBR, kind enough to join us here on the Party on Fifth Avenue podcast. And now we have year one in, now into year number 2 here in Pittsburgh at PPG Paints Arena, and some really exciting news. Third time will also be taking place. We'll be back next year in January.
Absolutely. Back next year in January. I think you can say that is going to happen for a lot of years to come if we have our way, and if Pittsburgh wants us here. So we love it here. We love coming here. This year it's a little warmer than it was last year. I'm hoping that we can bring the heat every time that we come to town.
We'd love that.
This time of year.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
But, really it's such a storied sports city, and how can you not love Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh sports fans?
We're really looking forward to everything this weekend and beyond with PBR. And I think, as I mentioned before, just the city embrace, and especially Pittsburghers are so old in their habits. So creating a new thing for them to come back to year in and year out and really embrace PBR, I think you're going to start to see that part where Pittsburgh fans are going to be PBR fans for a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you actually call them Pittsburghers? Is that
Yes,
what you said?
We're Pittsburghers.
You're Pittsburghers?
Pittsburghers or Yinzers.
I've actually never. Oh, really?
Yeah, Pittsburghers can be either Pittsburghers or Yinzers.
I guess it makes sense, but I'd never really heard the burgers part. The Pittsburghers.
Have you had
Pittsburghians?
No,
okay.
not Pittsburghers. Pittsburghers or Yinzers.
Okay, Yinzers.
And have you learned what a jagoff is yet?
No.
That's like a jerk.
Oh.
That's our version of a jerk,
All right.
a jagoff.
Jagoff.
Yeah, we don't want to be a jagoff in Pittsburgh, but you want to be a Yinzer. Have you had a Pittsburgher? Because there is one.
Is there?
Yeah, at
No.
Permane Brothers.
Oh.
And they put fries on the sandwich.
Really?
So like back in
You guys don't mess around.
No,
I
we-
mean, if there's a corner you can cut, it's like put the burger straight on the
and,
fries.
and that's exactly what it was. It
Or
was
the
for
fries
truck
on the
drivers. Back in the day, it was open 24 hours, Permane Brothers, and the truck drivers obviously wanted their sandwich and their fries, but they had to get back on the road, so they just said put the fries on the sandwich, and the Pittsburgher is born.
Nice.
So we're
love
gonna
it.
have to get you a Pittsburgher before you're out of here.
All right.
Sean, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it, and looking forward to continuing this great relationship with PBR.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Sean Gleason, our guest here on the Party on Fifth Avenue podcast. We continue with this all PBR show right after this. Stick around. Party on Fifth Avenue podcast presented by Edgar Snyder and Associates rolls on after this.
After you've been in a serious accident, you're going to have a lot of questions about what the insurance company is doing.
These are some we hear all the time.
Why are they trying to get a statement when I'm still in the hospital?
Why are they inspecting my car without my permission?
Why are they asking me to fill out all these forms?
Why are they calling me all day?
Why do I feel like I'm being pressured to take their offer?
Want answers? Call us. And remember, there's never a fee unless we get money for you.
Pittsburgh, get ready to see PPG Pace Arena like never before. PPG Pace Arena tours take you behind the scenes of the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is your chance to step inside the Penguins locker room and feel the history of the 5-time Stanley Cup champs. See the ice from a player's point of view and go where legendary broadcasters called the biggest moments in Penguins history. From championship stories to behind-the-scenes secrets, this tour is the ultimate Penguins experience. Visit ppgpacearena.com and book your tour today.
Welcome back to the Party on Fifth Avenue podcast presented by Edgar Snyder and Associates. Talking all things PBR, professional bull riders. And joining us is one of the bull riders, Keyshawn Whitehorse, kind enough to join us. And Keyshawn, thanks for coming back into the Steel City.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pleasure of mine to be back. I'm excited, and it's good vibes here.
Yeah, welcome back to PPG Paints Arena. And you said good vibes, and I'm going to lead with it because it was exactly what I remembered when I knew that we were going to be talking, was the way you ended things here at PPG Paints Arena 1 year ago, needing a perfect ride for your Ridge Rider team, which I'm also representing this morning. But you needed a perfect ride to walk off for the Ridge Riders, and you got it, and really sent Pittsburgh home with the most epic, in the way that I would compare it to a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning. You gave Pittsburgh the ultimate ending. How was that? How fun was that for you to show up to a new city and end it that way?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, the magnitude of the situation for us is already, it's built up. But not only that, you show up here in PPG Arena, it's sold out. I mean, and the fans were really good all night. So our game was like at the end of the night. You know, as a rider, you kind of go out, check everything out, like how the show's going as it's like as time's going on. You walk out, look at the fan interaction, the music, they feel the energy, before you go out. While other riders are going, you're like, okay, it's pretty dang good, and then next thing you know, they start our game, and we had met with some former Steelers players. We had Brett Kiesel and James Harrison right behind the bucket chute with us, and I think that was a kind of a surprise for the fans of Pittsburgh. But once they saw them guys with some Arizona Ridge Rider gear, oh man, the whole arena was on our side. And I tell you one thing, the energy and the support that each person put out for us that night, it was amazing. And it kind of went down to it. The game was kind of close, and I had a bull that I had ridden like one other time, I think, at that point in time. I think that was maybe only my second time getting on him. So we had history, and I won an event on him the previous year, and it was something very special. I had a lot of confidence leading into that, and with that bull right there and having that great of a bull ride, because it's not just any bull ride. It wasn't like 85, pretty average, 85, 86 point bull ride. It was a dang good bull ride. In my opinion, it could have been 90 or should have been 90.
I'm with you too, but it got the job done.
It did get the job done, and immediately going back to the bucket chute and just freaking going off with James Harrison and Brett Keyshawn. So they're screaming my face. I felt like I was part of the Steelers. You know, I was ready to run somebody over at that point, you know.
No question. Yeah, I think Brett had the big speech before you guys went out, gave you guys a pregame pep talk in the locker room. What was that like?
I mean, shoot. I mean, I felt like I was going out of an NFL game or something, you know. It was great because, like, we always have, like, at that point in time, we had the team format for a few years already. But it's always been different. I think most guys, especially in bull riding, were so even kill or just mild. And I think it's just because of the way that the sport is. It's kind of like baseball, percentage game. You know, you can't ride every single bull you get on, but you try to do your best. And if you're riding about half or a little over half of the bulls you get on, you're doing dang good. So when it comes to, like, keeping our energy up, we don't generally do that for the most part. But having him back there, for me, I loved it. It jacked me up. I was pumped up, ready to go. And, you know, he had a great speech. And
We just needed to keep them off the bulls. They were getting a little bit overzealous. They
Oh,
thought
yeah.
they could get on one of those
Yeah,
things.
you know, I think they saw us, and then they're like, man, we're kind of big, you know, and we can take these things, you know. And I was like, I don't know, man, these things are kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit defensive lineman, a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me take you back. You know, we talked off the air about your beginning, and you know, so many talking about NFL athletes when they grow up, they think about that. That's what they wanted to do. Kind of similar story for you. Of you've really always wanted to do this.
Yeah, and I never really had anything else I wanted to do in my life. From the moment I saw bull riding, I fell in love with it. Didn't know anything about it. Slowly learned things as I got older. And at that point in time, for the first few years, I just did it because I liked it. I didn't know I could, like, actually take it somewhere. And it wasn't until probably I was like 9 years old or so, I was finally, like, getting better at it. And I was like, wow, I could actually be good at this and, you know, and go take this somewhere. And I started working a little harder and training a little harder and understanding the value of discipline and hard work. And I think that's one of the things why I love coming to Pittsburgh, is because they understand the value of hard work. The people here that are hard workers, and, you know, they spend their hard-earned money to come watch us ride. And that's something to stand for sure. And for me, want to do good for it and give them something to watch.
What's a parallel that you guys are athletes, and I think introducing it to the Pittsburgh area and having the embrace of guys in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization is always great. But are there any parallels? Like, are you listening to music pregame? How do you get fired up to get on there, or is there more a cerebral thing that you go through? Are there parallels that the common sports fan can draw from?
Yeah, no, I feel like for the most part, it's a weird wave that you have to ride. So for me personally, I come in with a really calm mindset, coming in calm, ready just to enjoy the evening before the show comes on. And there's like a slow amount build up. And as soon as I get behind the chute, it's building up slowly. That's kind of the hardest point in time, because you're just not necessarily on the back of the bull yet, but your subconscious knows it's getting close. And it's almost, I guess, in a way, like kind of like skydiving.
Okay.
You're getting ready. You're putting your parachute on, and then next thing you know, you're getting in the plane, and the plane takes off, and it's kind of climbing up in elevation. And then eventually that door opens, and you're like, all right, it's time, but it's not time yet until they tell you to jump, and then you got to nod your head, and that's when it all hits you at the same time. The only difference is when you skydive, I think, versus bull riding is skydiving. Once you're falling, and obviously there's guys that pay attention to everything, but when it comes to bull riding, you got to just react. once you nod your head. And at that point in time, it's all the training and the fundamental things that come into place, and you gotta make sure you're very aware of everything going on. It's not too much getting jacked up. I like to get, personally for me, I found out in the past when I was younger, I have to kind of get an attitude about me. Kind of like that light switch like some of them football players do whenever they go walking out the tunnel pre-game. That's what works for me. Some guys, you look at them and you're like, are you even ready to get on? They're so calm. They're like, they're just kind of chit-chatting. But for me, once I climb in that buck and shoot and I sit on top of that bull, I know it's go time.
And you embrace the role of that closer role for your team and being the last guy to go, and kind of have that, again, that closer, like a closer in baseball of, if it's coming down to, we were talking about this too, of like, if it's coming down to you, you want that pressure on you. Yeah,
definitely. I feel like that moment within the game is so simple. It makes it so simple versus any other position. You know what you have to do. Now it's just time to get the job done. Whenever I feel like when you're in any other position, it's like, okay, I want to stay on. I want to make sure I have a good ride, stuff like that. Like more can be added to it that doesn't need to. And bowling is such a simple game like that. But whenever you're in that closing position and the team needs a score to win, as long as you have enough bull to get you the points, it's so simple. You just give everything you have and you don't look back. Basically, you put your foot on the gas and you don't let off until the job's done.
What was the first bull ride like for you when you got on? I would imagine you were young. And what possesses you to go, I want to do that again?
Yeah. So getting on like some calves and steers, I remember completely like blanking out, not remembering hardly anything. Now, the first big bull I got on, that was already after years of experience of getting on some like calves and steers and mini bulls. But the first big bull I got on, I was 12 years old, and I was at this camp, and my dad was like, get on him. This is the second day of the camp, and he's get on him, like try it out. Like he's already seen this bull before, and so he had faith in me. But I was itty bitty, and I was like, I don't know, Dad, I don't know. And my dad was always a guy to try to push me out of my comfort zone, try to let me grow, and knew what was best for me. And I was like, I don't know, Dad. I was scared. And he kind of like walked away, didn't say anything. But he knew that little bit of like, all right, I'm just going to go over here. I'm not going to say anything, was going to be like, oh, I'm disappointing him in a way, I guess. So whenever that moment took over me, I was like, all right. I kind of did a little mental self-talk. I was like, I could do this. Went over there, started putting my rope on that big bull. And I just remember everything was so different from that first time. So this bull cut out like 2 or 3 jumps and then just turned straight left. But I remember every single jump this bull took, it felt like slow motion, because every animal that I got on before that, it was like sporadic, because they're smaller and quicker. It's like boom, 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 running around, jump kicking everywhere. Yeah. And this bull is taking these big old leaps, and my little body is on the back of this bull. And I didn't ride this bull for the full 8 seconds. But the thing is I put it out the effort. I overcame a fear, and I felt the motion of every single every single step this bull took. And it was like surreal to me. And once I hit the ground and I got up and got away safely, I was like, holy crap, that was amazing. I didn't like start getting on big bulls right away because I knew my age limit and everything like that. But that moment right there was like, I can do this. Like, all you got to do is just get past some of these fears. You got to block everything out. The most enlightening feeling is once you overcome fear. And I feel like that's with anything, whether it's getting on the back of a bull or trying something new, a new hobby, or it doesn't matter what it is. That feeling of getting over that fear level, it's unbeatable. It's something that I feel like anybody at any point in their life should try to do.
No, I think there's so many parallels to that in the game of life, and there's so many just things that you could compare to in life and bull riding, and I think the country lifestyle in general. Like, you have things you need to get done and you go through them. And do you draw from those memories still, or is your mindset now different in the way that you prepare?
No, I definitely look back in a lot of the memories that I've made throughout the years in my career, and a lot of them are honestly before I even got on tour. And it's so funny because whenever my fiance and I first started dating, you know, we would kind of go through our relationship and whatever, the ups and downs, and we kind of sit down and talk. And every time we had some type of difficult thing to talk through, I would always compare it to bull riding. And I remember at one point in time, she's like, why do you compare everything to bull riding? But it's taught me so much about myself and about life. And that's the thing I can resonate with the most. Right. And, you know, bull riding is one of those things that you can go, and if you pay attention to yourself and you pay attention to the way your mind thinks and the way you can overcome things or the way you go through things, whether it's injury, getting on a bull, wanting to be successful in it, you can learn an endless amount of things. And even to this day, I'm still learning so much. I mean, I've been at this high level for many years now, and it wasn't until last year, you know, I started understanding the way my mind was reacting to the bull rides before I even get on. Prior to that, it was just like, you get bucked off. Oh, it's just a fundamental error. My free arm was a little too high. I didn't get to the front, or whatever it may be. Then finally, at one point in time, it got to the point where I was like, okay, let's take a step back. I practice these fundamentals like dang near every single day. My body knows what to do. Why am I not doing it? What was going through my mind before I got on? And I started, and I started understanding, like, a lot of the errors that I am doing is simply just because I had maybe a single piece of doubt prior, or I wasn't trusting myself with however the style of this bull is bucking. So practically saying, my style doesn't line up with this bull, but that shouldn't matter because you make those adjustments. Sure. So I started understanding that a little bit more about myself, and then even then applying that to my life of like, okay, well, why, when this thing comes up in my life, why do I react this way? Okay, this reaction came from this point in my life. Well, it made me feel this way. How do I get rid of that, or how do I adjust that and fix that?
That's fascinating. Talking to Keyshawn Whitehorse, getting ready for PBR here at PPG Paints Arena. Back in Pittsburgh, what do you like to do outside of getting on bulls on television in front of thousands in sold-out arenas? You know, we were talking earlier, you were looking at some food spots. Or do you like to try to, when you go to different cities, try to find the unique food spots in a city?
Definitely. I am definitely a guy that likes to try different foods in different areas, especially like now my preferred thing would, now I wish we came to Pittsburgh at a warmer point in time, because my preferred thing to do outside of bull riding is golf.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to go try to do some golfing around
good,
here.
And there's some great courses around here.
Yeah, but unfortunately it's freezing cold when we come here. Right. So yeah, I do like to try out some food places, and just kind of like, I'm a big like you know,